morning, dear students. So hope you are all doing good, doing great in your home. So studying great, isn't it? Okay. So classes are going well, I think. So today we will continue the chapter, the fundamental unit of life. Okay. In the last class we have seen what is the fundamental unit of life. That is the basic structural and functional unit of life is cell. Okay. Like the brick in a building. So cell acts as cell helps to construct our body. Of all the living organism, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of any living organism. So in the last class we have come across who discovered the cell and how it was invented, who are all the persons involved in the discovery of microscopes in order to identify the cell. And today we will start the cell organelles. What do you mean by cell organelles? After the invention of electron microscope, they came to know that the cell inside it consists of nucleus and the cytoplasm and the cell organelles which is floating inside the cytoplasm, like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, okay, so ribosomes, lysosomes, so there are plenty of cell organelles. There are numerous cell organelles which carry out different functions inside the cell. So what are those cell organelles? First one we will see, plasma membrane, which holds all the cell content perfectly, So the first one is the plasma membrane. It is also called as the selectively permeable membrane. Selectively permeable means it selects the molecules which has to be go in, which has to go out. Okay, it is selectively permeable to specific ingredients or specific molecules. So to go in and out of the cell. So how this molecules enters the cell and exit the cell? By the process called diffusion. And osmosis. The cell content, that is the molecules, like the gaseous molecules are there, the food molecules which we take, that enters from one cell to another cell by the process called diffusion and osmosis. Now we will see which are all the contents which exchange through the diffusion and which are all exchanged through the osmosis. Okay, so the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. We know that in plants photosynthesis has to carry out. For that carbon dioxide is needed, isn't it? So exchange of this carbon dioxide gas enters inside the cell and oxygen comes out of the cell after the photosynthesis process. So this takes place, and also the cellular waste. After carrying out all these processes, some waste will be removed. The cellular waste, these are all come out of the cell and come inside the cell. Exchange of these gases and waste comes outside of the cell by the process called diffusion. Diffusion means the process of transfer of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. The process of transport of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration is called as diffusion. Carbon dioxide gas is plenty outside the atmosphere, that is present in the atmosphere. So that's why from the region of high concentration to the region of low concentration, such as inside the plant cell, that will enter. Okay, so that is the process called diffusion. And the water exchange, the process of entry of water and minerals to the plant cell by the roots, that takes place through the process of osmosis. Osmosis means the process of transport of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration across a special membrane called plasma membrane. By crossing the membrane called plasma membrane. By crossing the selectively permeable membrane, that is called as the osmosis. Okay, so can you notice the difference between the diffusion and osmosis? Diffusion means the process of transport of molecule from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So, but osmosis means the process of transfer of molecules from the concentration to the region of lower concentration across the semi-permeable membrane. Across the selectively permeable membrane is called as osmosis. That is the difference. Okay. So based on this, there are three types of solutions are there. There are three types of conditions are there. So that we will see by the experiment. That there are three types of cell conditions are there. That we will see by seeing the experiment. So hypotonic solution. Hypo means less. Hypo means less. Iso means same. Hyper means more. Hyper means more. So hypotonic solution means I took one beaker and I put water. High concentration of water is present when compared to the cell inside. Cell inside low concentration of water is there. So when compared to that, I took the more concentration of water outside the cell, that is inside, that is in the beaker. Okay, and I put the cell as a resin or a dry grapes. Dry grapes you can take. So that that is dry fruit, dry grapes I put in a water containing that is a beaker containing water. This is called dilute solution because this contains high concentration of water. If the water concentration more, then it is called as a dilute solution. So because here it is inside the cell water concentration is less. So from where to where the water should move? Here concentration is more, here inside less. So the water molecules move from the region of high concentration to the region of low concentration. So the water from the beaker enters inside the cell, makes the cell to swell up. Okay, cell gains the water because here high concentration is there outside. It gains and it becomes swelled up. So this is when the condition, this is the condition of a cell when outside water concentration is more and inside water concentration is less. That's why I took hypotonic solution. That means outside water concentration is more and inside is less. That's why it is called as hypotonic solution. Next is isotonic solution. Here, whatever the concentration of water inside the cell is same as that of the outside of the cell. That is, water concentration outside and inside are same. So there is no net movement of water because both sides are same. There is no question of movement of water from high concentration to lower, isn't it? So that's why the net movement of water is same and the cell doesn't changes in size. So then when I take hypertonic solution, that means here dilute water I took, that's why it is called hypotonic. Hypertonic means very low concentration of water. Is here and the cell has a high concentration of water. Inside the cell, high concentration of water is there and outside the cell, less concentration of water. Then from where to where the water moves? The water moves from the cell to outside. Because inside the cell water concentration is more. That's why the movement of water molecules from the region of the cell to the outside. So that's why shell becomes shrink. By emptying all the water inside the cell, it shrinks. So this is what happens when the cell is dipped in the hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution means the concentration is more. The concentration outside is more. Okay. So this is what happens to the cell when it is subjected to different water conditions. Then why osmosis is called as a special type of diffusion? So the osmosis is called as a special type of diffusion because so here we know that the definition of diffusion, the movement of water molecules or any exchange of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. But osmosis will take place in presence of plasma membrane only, in presence of selectively permeable only, isn't it? So that's why, both are same. there will be exchange of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. There is no doubt about it. But osmosis takes place across the semi-permeable membrane, but there is no, in such case, in diffusion. That's why osmosis is nothing but a diffusion, but a special kind of diffusion which will transport the molecules across electrically permeable membrane. Okay, so these are this is the answer for this question. And then, what are the applications of this osmosis and diffusion? Where we can see in our surroundings. What are the applications of this? So, osmosis and diffusion. So, applications of osmosis first we take. In unicellular freshwater organism like amoeba, euglena, paramecium, protozoa, isn't it? So, these unicellular freshwater organisms and also the plant cells, they carry the water molecules. They carry the water molecules or they gain the water by the process called osmosis. Without osmosis, the entry of water is not possible to these organisms. So, the gaining of water takes place by the unicellular organisms present in the pond or water bodies, and also the plant cells takes place through the osmosis process. Okay. So, then absorption of water by the plant roots. We know that plant roots, root hairs, they contains the cells. So, they gain the water and minerals by the process called osmosis. Okay. So, these are the applications or advantages of the osmosis. So, next, what is the advantage or application of diffusion? So, diffusion, we know that endocytosis, that is engulfment of the food. In the last, in the 8th standard, in the 7th standard only, you have studied how the amoeba takes food. Amoeba is a shapeless organism with a pseudopodia. When a food comes near to that, what happens? So, it protrudes its pseudopodia and it engulfs. It attacks and engulfs. It senses the food material and it protrudes the pseudopodia and it engulfs. So, this process is called as endocytosis. That is engulfing inside. Endocytosis. So, this process takes place through the process called diffusion. Through diffusion. And also, the movement of lipids, protein molecules. Okay, the transport of lipids and protein molecules in the animal cell or a plant cell, that is also takes place through the diffusion. So, these are the applications or advantages of the diffusion. So, these are all about the plasma membrane. How plasma membrane helps in conducting the osmosis process by to transport the water molecules, and how it conducts the diffusion process to carry out lipids, proteins, and the food molecules transport from one cell to the another cell. So, next we will take the cell wall. Second cell organelle is the cell wall. Okay. So, this cell wall is present only in the plant cell. Remember, cell wall is present only in the plant cell. It does not present in the animal cell. Animal cell contain only the plasma membrane and the cell contents, whereas the plant cell, when you take, plant cell contains the cell wall. A rigid structure called the cell wall. Plant cell, this is the plant cell. So, animal cell does not contain the cell wall. Plant cell, so it contains the cell wall. It is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. Made up of glucose monomers. Cellulose is a polymer made up of many units of glucose, and it gives structural support to the plant, structural strength to the plant. It protects the plant from wear and tear of the atmosphere. Okay, wear and tear of the atmosphere. It gives structural strength to the plant cell. And cell, when the cell becomes, okay, so animal cell or a plant cell, through the osmosis process. For example, if the high concentration of water is there inside the cell when compared to the atmosphere or outside, so it loses water. It loses water and it gets shrink up. That process, it shrinks up and all the cell contents are contracted. All the cell contents are contracted and the cell dies. That process is called as plasmolysis. What is plasmolysis? When the high concentration of water is present inside the cell when compared to outside, cell loses water and it gets shrunken and cell contents get compacted or contracted and it leads to the death of the cell called plasmolysis. So, because of the cell wall, plants does not undergo plasmolysis. Because of this cell wall, so it does not undergo plasmolysis. It protects the cell, cell wall protects the cell from plasmolysis or cell shrinkage. Okay, by providing the support or rigidity to the cell. Okay, so further information about the cell wall we will see in the next class. So these are all some information about the plasma membrane and about the different cell conditions in different mediums and also applications of osmosis and diffusion. So hope you are all understood, dear students. Try to write the in-text questions by reading the lesson. Okay, so and complete the exercise. Thank you so much.